They figured it out. Thank goodness. I'm so passionate about this.
This is something that really connects you spiritually. I'm Jason, behavioral analysis. I study human behavior. It's why I love to do this thing. And this is my beautiful wife.
Hi, Ayo Gathing, Dr. Ayo Gathing, psychiatrist, author, and healthcare administration executive.
So this is a dope episode. This one's going to be about throwing it back. Can a woman have her sexuality in as a Christian or faith-based woman?
Or a man. Can he own his sexuality? Why women always got to be the one sexual? Men might want to own their sexuality of men of God. I'm sure there's some pious men out there struggling with this.
Yes. So diving deep into the complexities of this with a faith-driven approach. That's going to be with everything we do here, you guys. So, but we want to know. I mean, I'm going to bring out. Let's come out hot. The first question is, what is throwing it back? Let's just put it out there on the table. Throwing it back, and I'm gonna go there with it. It's kind of like, you know what I mean, when you guys are tussling, going back and forth in the war room, when y'all about to get it on, and you know what I mean. And she need to do what she need to do. Is she doing it? Did I explain that? What do you think about that?
I mean, when I hear throwing it back, of course, as a woman who's married and having lived some life, you know, I think of like that rhythm, right? Like, am I in a rhythm? Am I feeling what I need to feel and emotionally connected and really connected in that moment? And I think that's the deeper question. Like, as a Christian woman, you know, feeling sexy, as a Christian man, like in relationships, in dating, you know, are you feeling those emotions and are they tied to physical, and are you throwing it back and doing what you need to do and stepping up in that way?
I love that, but I'm going to keep it 100. Yo, when I think about that, I see Cardi jiggling, I see TikTok, as soon as you open your phone, you looking for some car stuff and you see something bouncing, you like, hold on, I don't want this. I'm trying to look up car stuff right now. I don't need this in my life. I'm trying to get my mind straight. And so that's what I think about when I hear throwing it back. Why? I don't know. It just comes to me.
My algorithm's built different.
I try.
I see Cardi taking care of her children.
Right.
And
But
no, you're right. I do see things like, and I think throwing it back, you know, it really does give you that picture of the jiggling. We see that and everyone associates that with, you know, rappers and all this stuff. But we are in our marriages. You know, we are the Cardi of our marriage. I am the star of my own marriage in the bedroom for sure. So no, I agree. Throwing it back. Yeah. Like, let's get into it.
Well, traditionally, the teaching or purity, and it's talk about purity and restraint. When you're talking about religion, you're talking about faith. It's about purity. So we're talking about physical purity, mental purity, restraint from things you're restraining yourself, keeping yourself protected. But a lot of these things you're doing outside when you're outside the marriage. When you're inside the marriage, when you're in your home and when you're in your rooms, all this needs to drop. This needs to be a non-factor. So trying to be a prude? Right. Come on, nobody wants a prude. I married her. When I met you, you was out there throwing it back on the dance floor. And we can't have that because you buttoned up too tight and you know what I mean? You don't jiggle no more. Like, what's happening here?
Well, so that's a good place to start. So there's different phases of the relationship. So you've got you're just meeting, you've got we're dating, we're getting to know each other, you've got we're committed, we're serious, then you got marriage. So I think as a Christian woman, there's different messages for different parts of that relationship. Even though I'm one person, there's different messages. There's like, keep it tight, you know, don't do anything, you know, no sex till marriage as a Christian. Then you're like, oh, all of a sudden on wedding day, I turn into this freak, right? Now I can let it all out in fantasies. Like, I think that's the issue, especially as a woman. I don't know if men of God also struggle with this issue, but I think as a woman, you're told, oh, you can't give it up on the first night or he won't respect you. Then it's like, okay, then if you do, you can't be serious. And then if you hold out, how long's holding out? And then if you're a woman of God, do you wait until marriage? Like, I think there's just so many things that the church doesn't necessarily outright talk about. It's in the Bible, you read it, and then you have to figure out your own interpretation.
No, I totally agree. But my problem here is, I mean, you see this with social media and any outlet. Like it's always in your face. Even if you don't want it in your face, it's on TV, it's in your phone, it might be on an infomercial. Remember when Janet, she had the nip slip, and it's like, what just happened? Why did Janet do that?
That was a Super Bowl.
That was definitely a Super Bowl. Why did we see that on a Super Bowl? Like that just, but
technology.
So I feel like social media with that, it just changes the narrative of trying to be faith-based or holy and then still hold up these same standards. And it's like kind of like what you were saying. Is it okay to do this? Is it not okay to do this? For me, I feel like you definitely need to do that, because if not, you're gonna find this outside the marriage. You're gonna go. That's why cats are so infatuated with the strip club. Like, why? Just have that at home. Put a pole up. Have her get some little lessons or something to throw it for you. I mean, that's what this is about. Like, it's not a sacrifice, but this is like, basically it is a sacrifice. This isn't life. You're supposed to give yourself to your spouse. So I think that's what it's about. And I feel like that's what's going to keep marriages strong. Like, if she wants you to put on a bunny suit, put the bunny suit on. Out there hopping, it's going to feel weird.
That's weird.
That is definitely weird.
But if two people agree that that's the kind of weird they want to be together and that's what marriage means for them, I'm all for it. I think I agree with what you're saying. Number one, I have taken a pole class. It's hard, okay? Like what them girls is doing, shout out that, listen, I use muscles
work
that I never knew I had when I took that class, but I was willing to do that. But I think some people, I think it's that transition. It's that like I'm at church on Sunday morning, and then right when I get out, I'm switching the vibe. And I don't think like churches talk enough about how you're supposed to act. What's your attitude supposed to be about sex when you're in the dating phase of relationships? If you are waiting until marriage, how do you get that support? What does that look like? How far can you go? Like, Can we get a little boob action? Can we get a little grind? Like, how far can we go so that on wedding night is like, okay. And then if we do slip up and we aren't living like we're supposed to live, what does that mean? Are we praying it off? Are we continuing? Do we go to the pastor? Like, I think these are the conversations that I think you don't feel supported. So then everyone's out there just trying to figure it out.
He who without sin cast that first stone. So we gonna keep slipping. He said you're gonna fail 7 times and sell 7 or 10 more or 30 more. I mean, it's about the fact it's gonna happen. But I mean, honestly, we really have to define what throwing it back really is. I think I'll tell from a man's standpoint. I think what it is just, you know what I mean? It's just not being approved in the bedroom. Like if you know what I mean? It's like you're just stiff. You don't know what to do. You sitting there praying and something while we getting it on. You just don't. You looking at them like, I don't like you. Like, what you mean? I feel like you're supposed to give yourself to your spouse, and this is supposed to be something that really connects you guys spiritually to one another. So what do you think?
I agree. And when I think throwing it back, listen, I'm ready to do all the things. Like, that's one of the reasons I got married. So I didn't have to worry about, slipping up, getting somebody pregnant with somebody, getting nothing, catch itchy scratchies. Like, look, I'm ready to do it all, right? But if everyone might not be like me, right? Everybody might not have been married for those reasons. Some people got married for security. Some people got married to have kids. And so I think you have to bring all that together, and sex has to be discussed in a marriage. Like, what do you like? I remember the first time you asked me, like, what do you like in the bedroom? I was totally taken aback. No one had ever asked me that before. Like, oh my God, what do I like? Right? Like, and so I think as married couples, or even when you're dating and in relationships, just talking to your actual person, like, how do I throw it back? What does that look like to you? Like, do you like it from the back? Do you like me on top? Like, all that stuff. Like, that to me is throwing it back. Like, I'm giving you what brings you pleasure in the sexual environment. And, am I sexy outside the bedroom, right? Like, am I doing things that keeps you feeling excited when you see me? Like Joe Biden, when he taught, he said when his wife comes, his heart goes boom, boom. Like, I want to know, like, what keeps that going for you? Like, am I wearing the muumuu too much? Like, all that.
But see, my thing is, like, your wife needs to be your candy. You don't need to be going to no other candy store but the candy. I'm going to my candy store over here. This is where I don't want. So if my candy needs to be heels and look like this and put the hair like that, that's what I need. If your girl's walking around with a moo-moo and she's not doing it, and you looking at somebody else's candy store, she's probably not doing what you want to. And you might need to get rid of your insecurity problems. But
wait a minute now.
I mean, no, not your insecurity, the guy's insecurity problem.
Okay, let's hear a little bit more about that. What's the guy's insecurity problem?
I mean, he may not feel that she is so sexy, you know, all this attention. Maybe he's not doing what he needs to at the house. He's not pleasing her. He's so worried about what she's doing. Or maybe is it something he's doing? Is he stepping out? Is he doing some stuff? And maybe all those things are going to come to the surface. You know what I mean? But then again, you don't want lady dressing like, you know, like she just came from the strip club. She needs to have some class. Some cats like that.
So I can't wear a muumuu and I can't have just come from the strip club.
Somewhere in the middle of there, I feel like is where we need to be. What do you think about this? Where is the hard line between going too far? Like, where's the balance at? Like where are the deal breakers here?
Okay, like, are you saying are there things that can't be crossed? Like lines that can't be crossed? Like, can you go too far in a marriage or ask too much of your spouse in a marriage sexually?
Right. Like, are you inviting somebody else in? Now, faith-based, that is a no-brainer, but people think that's cool, which no judgment here, but that also invites a whole nother spirit into your relationship.
You're right.
And that can cause a major issue. You wonder why, I'm over here talking to this person, I'm talking to that person, and you guys are no longer united. This is a spiritual bond that we have, and every time you do something like that, you are breaking that bond. You are breaking that bond with God and with your spouse.
But what if both people are into that? Like, what if they both agree to bring someone in within the confines of their marriage, but they still consider themselves faith-based people? Like, what does that look like?
I don't know. Well, the faith I follow, I don't think that's the thing you should be doing because that's what it said. But if that's something you do, then I can't judge you. So that's only with you. But at the end of the day, you're still splitting spirits. That's true. So to speak. You know what I mean? You're not one, you're two or four, and you're inviting somebody else.
For four?
Who knows?
How many people's up in this bed?
Is in these streets tough.
But what about, okay, this is good. Because inviting another person, I mean, that's a clear line that if we're talking, have conversations, that's kind of laid out. But what about if someone has a hard line about like entry points and someone wants an entry, someone wants an entry point that another person doesn't want entered. There's exit.
Well, if you got to walk around like a bunny, you got to walk like a bunny. I guess you got to do what you it's got to happen the way it's got to happen, I guess. No judgment. You guys do what happens there. Let it be there. No judgment here, but I mean, don't tell nobody else about it. Don't let nobody know because they're going to be freaking out. Everybody going to be like, what is going, what? Bro, no, don't ask your friend. Your friend, you don't want to know.
I've heard a lot about fingers slipping and stuff.
No finger here. No finger.
But I think what we're saying is,
want it. I don't.
I
gotta go see the prostate. I'm worried about that. I didn't hit the AIDS. My pops got. I don't want to go. I need to go. Mental health, wellness. Like this is where.
That's right. No, I agree. So, I do think that it's about like communication and talking about those things and being as open-minded as you can. Now, if you're trying things and it really just physically doesn't work or just mentally or emotionally your partner can't get past it, I do think that might be the hard line, right? Like, hey, I know this might be something that you envision marriage would be like or that we would do, but, either this is why it's not working for me. And then say, is that a hard no for you? Like, is that a deal breaker for you? Like, is that going to be having you imagining you have to go outside? Like, and then what does that look like?
Right. I get it. Okay. What do you think about this? Let's change lanes. So do you believe that religious institutions have evolved with the modern day age, like where things are now versus they were when your parents were there or like when it was dusty sandals or we was just walking around hot, no air conditioning? Have we evolved from there?
Okay.
Where are we?
I do think some churches have fully evolved. All the way, right? Like they're in it. They're come on. We talk about everything. but I think some are left like literally in the, I was thinking Stone Ages, but Dusty Sandals ages. I think they're not talking to young people. They're not speaking to the culture. They're not even referencing social media or some of these things these young people are dealing with, dating apps, right? Like they're not even talking about things like that. And I think they're losing a lot of that younger population or younger people because they don't feel like they even can relate or understand their experience. I think it just depends. Some churches are doing what they can to keep up. Adding to that, Gallup actually did a poll, and 48% of women and 41% of men who took the poll thought that their churches were not keeping up with the times or speaking to what they're dealing with right now in the culture and looking at sexuality at all, or even addressing sexuality in relationships and not even marriage, not talking about what that looks like. So I think the people, are agreeing with us that some of their churches really aren't keeping up.
I feel like, but with this Me Too movement, I mean, you can feel some type of way hurting somebody's feelings because they may be, who knows whose team they're on. So that could really touch some, pressure points and maybe really offend somebody.
Team? Can you expound? Huh? Can you expound a little bit?
Or what?
What are the teams? I don't know. We got the people.
You got men and women together. You got women and women together. You got men and men together. Okay. So I mean, as a person of of influence, like you're trying to educate somebody on something they should be doing, but then again, you don't want to offend them,
right?
With something that you may say. Right. Not to mention, I mean, I think we have to also look at when you're talking about sexuality, you have to look at how people dress in the church sometimes, or try, and that's a whole nother thing because, who knows? This is all she might have in the closet, or this is all he has. Like if she dances on Wednesdays and Thursdays and then comes in with them heels, that's all the heels she has for the week. So what if and she has to wear that outfit and it was nothing else clean that day. So
that's right.
She had to wear this one, which is a nice outfit, but is it bad for this occasion?
I hear you. So you think the challenge of leaders is trying to capture a flock, right? And speak to their people where there's kind of differing ideas about what's appropriate, inappropriate, even in the walls physically, and then connecting to those different populations to make them feel included and try to understand the word, but also where the lines might be.
Yeah, I agree. And what do you think about this? Is it too much taco meat? How much is too much taco meat? Like you're talking about women, let's get on menu. Like you got a whole nappy fro right here. You dang near braiding it. And you know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate
too much of that. We had a cat on the football team. He had hair all back here. It's like if he comes in, like, does he shave? Is that acceptable? And he's sweaty? Like, where do we draw the line with this? Do you say something to them? Is that appropriate? What if it's sexy for him to have a little afro right here or throw the meat out? Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, now church is a place where people want to fellowship and think that they might maybe get chose, right? So I'm putting my best foot heel forward, right? My whatever, but also maybe it might be that that's what I have, or maybe I don't understand, the rules of engagement as far as dresses or education of like what's appropriate wear. Some churches are come as you are, wear what you are. I grew up in a very conservative church where an inch or two of a knee could get you stares.
I'm sorry, knee at church, a little knee?
A little knee. And I'm talking, I just had a growth spurt. Like this dress fit. But so I think it is hard for leaders or even like people in the church to kind of support each other and try to help. I mean, sex is just hard, even in the country, in the world, much less within the faith-based organization. So I think you try to connect with who you can, but you might offend some people, right?
Facts. But how do you go about...
Your friend with the taco meat knows who you're talking to, and he is not happy.
He definitely... Well, how do you go about dating in the place where you fellowship? Like, is it like... It's like... But you say no, but on the other hand, like, where you going? This is where you should be finding the person that you want to rock with. This is the place. It's like, oh, we listen to the same thing. We got the same stuff in common. Like, I really like you. I know you wear your skirt just a little below the knees. It's fine. And you got them kitten heel shoes on and nobody really likes. I mean, they're cute. You might as well flat toe shoes. Just wear them the sandals. Them is actually better than the kittens. But, you know, they wear the kittens. So it's like.
Hands off my church. Listen. Church is where you should be dating people. But then if it doesn't work, then somebody got to find a new church or it's awkward.
The breakup.
If there's a breakup. Now, if it works, you got a great story. We met here. Now we getting married here. Like, this is amazing. But if it doesn't work, then,
I've had friends
I got to go to the 9 a.m. and now you at 11. Now we split in the church. We got custody of the church. Like, this is wild. No.
You get Tuesdays. You get every other Sunday with the men's fellowship.
Hook me up with a friend. If
we
meet, do you have any solid friends that go to the institution down the street?
But then again, that might be a nice. But on the other hand, it's sad because you really want to find. If not, you're finding somebody on the street that you have no clue. You don't know their values. It's like you dang near just throwing a rock in the ocean and hoping you find a fish eating a rock, but ain't no fish eating a rock. But you don't really know what's out there. That's the bad thing.
Why would a fish be eating a rock?
A fish probably wouldn't eat a rock. It would eat a worm or another fish or something like that. But
okay, so speaking of throwing it back, now that the fish has digested the rock, do you think our friends should be throwing it back before marriage?
Yeah, well, it depends who's talking about this. We are.
The Gathing.
I forgot. Yeah, we are. It's hard because you never sometimes people want to test drive a car before you get the car. If you don't test, you don't know what you getting out there in these streets. You might get something broke down that you got to fix up and
the lemon.
Yeah, you might get a lemon and it just might be all bad. Like, I had a friend who was dating this girl and she was just too young, beautiful young woman, acting like a schoolgirl, and he did not, you can't teach that. She was, it just wasn't a good fit for him. But do you help somebody get there? Or is that just a deal breaker? Because once again, you're looking on TikTok and Instagram and you're seeing stuff thrown back and you're not getting that at home. So now you're looking outside of your situation to find something to fulfill that void and you're still fighting with yourself. So is that
while you're abstaining, or that's like you've already test drove and the drive didn't have the ride you liked?
Well, I can't cast the first stone. I've accidentally tested the car before. And not to say you should do that, but I test drove.
We are not perfect people.
No one is perfect.
We are now married. We got engaged super quick. We were like, let's get this going.
It was 4 months in, 5 months in. We was like, yeah, we got to do this right now. So I figured it out.
A lot of heat up in here.
Right. So
But I think I will say, I've seen people do it both ways. I've seen people wait, not do anything until they got married, and it worked out. I mean, there's a couple in particular I'm thinking about, and we all teased her. We were younger. And, they got together, and they were like rabbits. They was doing things, and she was telling me things. I was taking notes like, sis, you was holding out the whole time.
The whole time.
And then I know a couple who waited, and they never found their footing. I don't know if it was just that. There may have been other things, but they didn't make it.
Was it he couldn't get out the blocks? Was it she didn't throw it right? Was she
did not have all of his equipment?
Was it the
equipment wasn't? He didn't have all the equipment.
It wasn't
that she wanted.
I hate when that happens. You got to get an additive or something. You got to put some testosterone or something. I mean,
don't be prescribing that for these folks.
It's probably
talk to your doctor.
Talk to your doctor. I'm just a behavioral specialist, and this is.
But I think we decided there's no perfect answer, and that's between you and your Lord and your relationship. But if the engine ain't
starting, I got to dip. You know what I mean? I cannot be in the building without.
But these are the conversations. These are real talk. These are real life issues, and the church has to help address these things that we're out here experiencing or struggling with. What do you think?
I love it. I think this whole talk was pretty dope. I mean, I hope people actually learned from this and got something amazing. These are these conversation talks.
That's right.
And people really need to know about this. We're trying to open up some eyes and keep some marriages together.
That's right.
And relationships building.
Keep y'all relationship on track, and you throwing it back in some way. You
gotta throw it. You
throw it back.
Throw it.
Hopefully it's
For
caught.
him, he needs this.
And goes the distance.
She
needs this too.
Wait, one more thing.
So look. Acting like women don't be needing stuff.
They do be needing it too. But what they don't understand, sometimes women don't understand is like, look, if you throw it right, he gonna act right. I know he ain't been acting. Not always true. Definitely gonna act right. At least for 5 minutes. You gonna get 5 minutes out of him. Maybe.
But who wants 5 minutes?
It might even be a whole day, and then you gotta redo.
I don't want a whole day though. Somewhere in between 5 minutes and a whole day.
It might even be 2 days. You don't know.
So I think for me, the real joy is in like the building and the learning and the loving, and that the churches and the people need to be mature and really understand and really communicate and really support each other. Like as Christians, we have to support each other. As churches, you have to support your congregation and really keep up with the times, because, that'll help your base, and within your relationship, communicate and talk about this stuff.
I'm going to keep it 100. Throw it back for him, please. Do not be approved, and give her what she need. Do not be lazy, bro.
She knows you lazy.
So, and this will definitely strengthen your bond and your union and everything. So I'll see you next time, guys. Let's go.